Welcome back. This is the Daily Thunder podcast. What a night. What a night. We're going to get into a lot of stuff. We've got a lot to talk about. I'm here with Brandon Rahbar, Daily Thunder beat writer. As always, Brandon, thanks so much for joining me. How are you?
I'm good, man. It was a fun night if you follow the draft lottery odds and you're a Thunder fan. And I do both of those things. So it's been a good night.
So let's get a couple of newsy things out of the way early. So earlier today, we got an update on Shai, the first one in a couple weeks. I'll just give it to you. Why don't you take us through what we learned today about Shai and whether we're going to see him again or not?
Yeah, so Mark Daigneault gave us some news that, it's so funny. Everything is different this year. Normally, when your young star player has an injury and you get the news that they've done some imaging on their injury and it hasn't progressed as well as they had hoped, and they're going to have to go back and be re-imaged and reevaluated 2 weeks later, you would normally be really bummed out and really upset. But this season, you hear that and you're like, okay, well, I mean, get better, Shai, but take your time. That's fine. That's all right. Hey, no, so that's the deal. He said that he has progressed. That's the important thing. It's not like it's gotten worse. It's not like it's stayed stagnant. His injury has gotten better. It's just not as good as they thought it would be at this point. So they're going to go back and look at it in 2 weeks. And let's be honest, 2 weeks from now, that's looking at the end of May. The end of the season is mid-May. Will they bring him back if his results in 2 weeks look pretty good? And by then, he would need to ramp up, get warmed up to play the season again and to play a few games. And at that point, what's the point? Why would you bring him back and risk anything? So, I mean, they also said that they're not going to rule him out, but of course they're not going to rule him out. It's very, very unlikely that Shai plays again this season, but Shai is going to be okay. It's the kind of injury that will heal mostly with rest, and that's the important thing. And the important thing, part two, is that now the Thunder's roster is depleted of its best talent as they try to get a top 5 pick.
We call that a win-win, yeah?
That is a win-win, yes.
I mean, absolutely. It's kind of the elusive Michael Scott win-win-win.
Yeah, that's true.
The patented. Yeah, I mean, his injury, that's one that can flare up pretty much whenever, especially if you don't give it enough time to heal. So given the fact that they're in a position where Shai being off the floor kind of helps them, and that injury requires rest, it just makes sense. We'll probably, like you're saying, if they bring him back this year, I would be very surprised. We'll say that. We'll leave it there. All right, let's get to the game tonight. Oklahoma City played a pretty big one, a pretty big game at Detroit. Detroit was sitting around the same, if not more, players than Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City obviously is sitting quite a few guys, but yeah, we didn't see Poku tonight. Obviously, no Shai, Horford. So yeah, it was a very interesting game as far as these teams are kind of showing their cards where they want to go. And Oklahoma City, they did what they had to do. This was a very ugly game. A very ugly game. The teams combined for 39 turnovers. Oklahoma City shot right at 18% from three, 40% from the floor. Detroit, not much better, 42% from the floor, 28.5 from three. This was an ugly game again between two teams that just aren't very good right now, playing rosters that aren't built to win games. Somebody had to win this game, and tonight it was Detroit. And I put win in quotation marks, like that was Oklahoma City should feel like the big winner tonight. This loss really, really helps them.
Yeah, this is big for the Thunder's draft lottery odds. It was the perfect night, though, if you're a Thunder fan, to me, because look, we know that Shai's become an all-star. He's an all-star level talent. They have that coming back next season, and to build on in the future, they want to put talent around him. So what they want to do, they want a top 5 pick. So you get the loss, it goes towards the top 5 pick. But Dort, as we talked about on the last episode of the Daily Thunder podcast, he emerged easily as the number 2 young core member, and he keeps separating himself. So what I want to see now when Dort's playing, yeah, it's better if the Thunder lose, but if he can have a good game and still show some of that star potential, we know he's always going to bring it defensively. That's not even a concern. Just lock it away. It's going to happen. But if he can show some potential on offense in a loss, that's another win-win. And what happened? 26 points, followed up his 42-point game with 26. He had another 3 steals. He went 3 of 8 from 3, and was the Thunder's best player on both sides of the court again. So, again, it's perfect. Yeah, you want to see the other guys, the other young guys show out and show potential and show promise as well. But the important thing here is you're trying to collect those core, who can I count on, maybe to be starters or high-impact pieces of the puzzle moving forward. And Dort has established himself as that. So it's fun to see him continue that trend in every single one of these games that the Thunder play and lose.
This is going to sound cliche, but this stretch of games where Dort gets to just be creator and find ways to get his own shot will help him and this team down the road. Because there will be nights where Shai is doubled and the ball finds Dort late in the game, and these are the experiences, these are the moments that he will draw from as experience in getting those shots up and finding good looks, learning from mistakes. Like these games will mean something to Dort down the road. So I totally agree with you. I love the fact that he's getting the ball a lot and just looking for a shot. He's still scoring efficiently. Like 26 points against this team with this roster, you would think that he probably was a little less efficient than he was tonight. He did a good job. He had 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Like he's kind of everywhere. And props to him late in the game. I would say, I think it was around the 5-minute mark. He returned 5 or 6 minute mark, and Detroit had a decent lead. I think it had gotten up to like 11, and Dort returns and the game flips. He hits a 3, and basically anytime the ball went near him, he was at minimum wrecking Detroit's set. And a lot of times causing turnovers, fighting through screens, forcing a lot of illegal screen calls, getting some steals, forcing them to play so far from the basket. And a lot of this was Detroit just playing poor basketball. Their guards are very young. Um, but I thought Dort kind of just handled the game from there. Like they didn't come out on top, but he almost won that game by himself at the end.
I thought he was going to, quite honestly. The Thunder were down 11 when Dort checked in the fourth quarter. There was like 7, 8 minutes left, something like that, 7 minutes. And Dort immediately hits a 3. Then he has a layup. He gets a steal. He gets a rebound. He has another layup, he has a mid-range shot a little bit later. And the Thunder outscored the Pistons by 5 from the point that Dort checked in until the end of the game. And really, I mean, they got within. I mean, they were right there. And the reason was Dort. He was everywhere. He was breaking up passes. He was getting steals. He was drawing offensive charges, offensive fouls, and he was converting on the other end. And he was setting guys up. They missed. The Thunder shot like 17% from 3, 17.9% from 3. But he was setting up guys with open shots by driving and kicking there at the end as well. He was awesome, honestly.
Yeah.
And, I want the Thunder to lose this game because it's a big game to lose, but you can't help but you see him hustling and he's a part of the future. And, as much as I wanted, I was like, Dort, don't do this to us, man. But awesome. You're awesome. Don't do it. But this is great. This is
Yeah.
great. Stop it. But I love it, man. I mean, it was like one of those deals.
The last two nights, his 42-point night, and then tonight, multiple texts during the fourth quarter. Tonight during the fourth quarter of Dort needs to calm down, and I was like, I know it's crazy, but he's going for it. He really was going for it, and yeah, you're right. It was 9 minutes. Oklahoma City went down 11. They called timeout, and Dort came in. It was around 9:15 left, and
Okay.
immediately hits a three. Then gets he gets that put back off an offensive rebound, just like a loose ball, then gets a steal, forced a couple of offensive fouls on just getting around screens and forcing bigs to move. So yeah, it really came to Josh Jackson and Lou Dort, which my condolences, to just the broader NBA fan that passed by this game late. That was probably not what you were looking for. But man, if you are one of those two, if you're a diehard for either the Pistons or Thunder, that was a very stressful game. Stressful game there late because both teams are probably looking for that loss. Now, Detroit is in a little bit better spot than Oklahoma City. Detroit right now sits as the third worst record. But they're only a game. They only have one more loss than Orlando, and only three more losses than Oklahoma City.
Well, and what's nice is Detroit and Orlando had to play one more time this season. So one of them is going to pick up another win. At this point, the Thunder want it to be Orlando just because they're closer. And Orlando still has to play the Cavs and the Wolves and the Rockets.
Wow.
I mean, they play literally the bottom three teams. Then they're the fourth team. Oklahoma City is the fifth team. And then they play
Cleveland.
the Cavs for the sixth team right now. I mean, if for some reason the Thunder did not win another game for the rest of the season, you got to think that Orlando, even if they don't want to, are going to pick up a couple of more wins.
Yep. And would you say it's feasible that Oklahoma City doesn't win again?
Yeah, I do think it's feasible. And I'll tell you exactly why. Because of the schedule. So the Thunder are going to play the Raptor. Obviously, the biggest reason is because SGA is probably out for the rest of the season. That's the biggest reason. And Al Horford's sitting, Mike Muscala's sitting. Those are the biggest reasons. But when you look at the schedule, just go through it. The Raptors now are – this is crazy because everybody thought they might tank. They are now in the play-in game. And Chicago, who made all these trades to try to get in the playoffs, lost 5 in a row. We don't really have to worry about Toronto anymore.
Correct.
They're in the play-in at the moment. So hopefully Toronto's priorities have shifted. The Thunder play Toronto on Sunday. That should be a loss. The Wizards want to win. The Pacers want to win. The Wizards want to win. 76ers, Celtics, Pelicans, Pacers, Suns, all those teams want to win. That takes us to May 2nd. Then last few games, they got the Warriors twice. They have the Jazz and the Clippers. All those are teams that want to win. The only ones the Thunder truly have to worry about are the Kings 3 times within 1 week. And that's the main worry because the Kings have lost 9 in a row and they have zero motivation to win at this point. So that would be the only worry is the Kings those 3 times.
If the Kings are going to play Fox and Hield, I don't think Oklahoma City has the firepower to score with a team that has those 2 guys.
No, I agree. If Harrison Barnes, the Kings actually have some players. It's weird.
They do.
And maybe you could just say it's just the Kings being the Kings, and there's a difference in culture, and that matters and stuff.
And they have the definitive worst coach in the league.
They do. But when you look at the players on their team, Buddy, Fox, Harrison Barnes, and then Tyrese Halliburton, probably number 2 or 3 guy for Rookie of the Year. depending on where Lamelo finishes now. But yeah, I mean, if those guys play and Wright, who they traded for, the point guard,
Yep.
they should be more competitive than Ben. They've actually lost a lot of close games. If they play with those guys, they'll beat the Thunder. It's just a matter of will they shut them down now that they realize they don't have any chance to make the playoffs. Now, maybe because the Kings have been losing so much, maybe they don't care so much about the lottery odds since they're flattened, and they'll take any wins they can get for their fans. That's a possibility. So they'll just keep playing to get as many wins as possible, hopefully.
Correct. And yeah, like you're saying, like they could show their hand and just sit everybody by the time we get to the last week of the season, and then it gets really interesting. Kind of like we saw tonight. It would be a battle of second units and call up guys.
Right.
So Oklahoma City, that's 9 in a row. That is 9 in a row. They're six back of Houston. But again, they're just 2 back of Orlando. And Oklahoma City plays Sunday against Toronto. And man, we can talk about it now. Tonight just went so well. The only thing that could have gone better, I think you might disagree, is if Orlando had beaten Toronto. I know that was kind of a win-win.
No, I'm completely with you. I was completely rooting for the Magic. I don't think that we got to worry about the Raptors even if they would have lost tonight. Now the only difference that might have made is maybe now they have a little bit more motivation to try to win on Sunday and not rest everybody. But yeah, I think it would have been better if the Magic would have won. Other than that, it was a perfect night.
Yeah, so Washington gets an overtime win again. Russ was just fantastic late.
Yep.
He they beat New Orleans. New Orleans has now lost 2 straight after I think they had won 5 in a row.
Yep.
So Washington wins. Let's see who else won tonight that really helped.
Well, the Timberwolves beating
Yes,
the
the Heat.
Heat.
Yeah,
That's great because the Thunder, if they don't get the Rockets pick, they get the Heat's pick. So the more losses the Heat can get, they're going to make the playoffs. But hey, if they can make it as a bottom seed and the Thunder get say even the 16th or 17th pick instead of the 23rd pick, that's great.
yeah.
Uh,
And right now Miami has lost 3 in a row and they're sitting at 16.
right.
Half
Yeah.
game out of 15. They're a half game better than Charlotte.
Yeah, which is fantastic. Now the only problem is they have a really easy schedule the rest of the way.
Like Minnesota.
Do what?
Like Minnesota.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Uh, good call. I can't argue with that. But you know what? You know what's interesting? I'm glad you brought up Minnesota. I'm glad you reminded me. Now that they have all their guys back, now that Russell's back and Cat's back, this team on paper shouldn't even be close to a bottom 2 team with everybody healthy. Now, will they try? Will they, their pick is top 3 protected, and if anything 4 or below goes to the Warriors, and you can argue either way for whether that gives them more or less motivation to tank. But they're an interesting case, Ryan, because there's an outside crazy chance that the Thunder could actually pass up the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves has some pretty easy games on their schedule. And yeah, the Thunder have 5 more wins than them right now, but the Timberwolves 2 of the next 3 games are against the Kings. So, I mean, and then they got the Rockets a couple games later. They've got the Pistons and the Magic later on.
Wow.
I mean, if they keep playing,
sounds like 5 wins right there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's gonna get really tight. And again, can I just say it? It would behoove Oklahoma City to have only like 17 wins right now. And I'm thinking about that Bucks game in Milwaukee. I'm thinking about that was without Shai. There are a few games this year that you can go back, like the Bulls come back. You could probably name more than me, but that it just feels like there were a handful of games that they could have just dropped and they'd be right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's crazy is the difference. I mean, this is going to come down to one game, two
Hmm.
games, and I mean, yeah, if the Thunder had three less losses right or three less wins right now, they'd be in the three spot, and the top three picks, they all have equal odds.
Yeah, I was just about
Uh,
to say, we're just getting into the top three is, where you're wanting to be.
that's where you want to
They're
be, and
3 games out.
yep, and yeah, the ones that you mentioned, the biggest stat to me is I'm sure it's changed by now, but as of a couple of weeks ago, before all the losses started happening, the Thunder were tied with the Lakers for the most double digit comebacks on the year. And this is a tanking team. This is a team that
Yeah.
traded away all their star players besides their young guys to try to get a top five pick, and they were tied with the world chance for most double digit comebacks on the season. Just
And
take away
just
three of those.
and just a couple nights ago, I was watching a Blazer game, and they showed a stat towards the end of the game, um, showing Lillard's like incredible numbers in the last 4 minutes of a close game.
Mm-hmm.
And the second best player on that chart was Shai. So
Right,
it's like,
right.
God, like, of course, he was
Yep.
just like, I mean, he basically took the mantle from Chris Paul. Like, I'm going to own the last few minutes of game.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like those are the games that we're talking about. But yeah, I think Oklahoma City is doing a great job right now. They're getting good performances out of Dort. And I mean, there's going to be a Teo game in there. There's going to be a night where Baisley pops. It's going to happen. You just hope that they come in games like this where they drop it. Now, obviously, not every game is going to be against Detroit. You're going to be playing teams like you noted that are gunning for certain spots. So you're going to feel great about 25-point night from Baisley because it's probably going to come against a team that just is just better. So
Right.
we'll see how the rest goes. But what a great night tonight for Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it really was. The tinkathon.com lottery sims are going to be fun for people over the next couple days because
Wow,
right
I just hit
now,
it as you said that. I hit it as you said that. Not even kidding. I wish I could share my screen so people could know I'm not lying. Oklahoma City just it jumped to number 1 and Houston dropped to 5. Like that
oh,
the
see, that is the
literally hit it one
dream.
time as you
Can you
said that.
imagine walking away with Kate Cunningham and Jonathan Kaminga?
And let me just say Jonathan Kaminga is no consolation. Like if that he is no like slouch
Right.
in when it comes to that top 5. And I think there will be teams that regret uh how quickly they just I should say not teams but like analysts like how quickly they slot him at 5 just as a no-brainer, and then a couple years down the road how sick Kaminga is going to be because he's just a freak athlete and has so much potential. I think he's going to be quite. I mean, whoever gets him, if that's who is taken at 5, what a steal!
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And here's the deal. Any of the five though,
Any
any of
of the
those top
5.
guys at five feels like still Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, Evan Mobley. I mean, any of those guys at five feels like just a complete steal. That's why you want a top five pick. Because they're all kind of number one overall type guys, blue chip talent. And if the Thunder can get two of those guys,
Mm,
and that's the thing, they're making their way towards having two coin flips at a top five guy. I mean,
mhm.
Houston right now, basically, there's a 48% chance if Houston stays in number one spot that the Thunder get the number five overall pick. 48% chance. And then at the number five slot, Oklahoma City has a 42% chance at a top four pick. And if they could get up to number four, passing Orlando or Detroit or Minnesota, they would have a 48% chance at a top four pick as well. So that's why, games like this one against this was a very winnable game and it was a clutch loss.
Yep. And I I don't know who was tweeting from Daily Thunder's account tonight.
I'm not
I
sure
forgot
either.
I forgot to see the name, but whoever it was, threw out a great tweet about like this was a game that either team could win, and one team's going to be very disappointed, the other team's going to lose.
Yeah.
I thought that
Yeah.
was very well said. So I shout out to whoever that was. Might have been Cray for all I know. Um, so the other thing I wanted to mention was the dream obviously is us going to 1 and Houston going to 5, but also Minnesota staying in the top 5, or sorry, the top 4. Um, for the sake of Golden State not getting one of those guys.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. If I were to pick, I do not want Golden State to end up with a Green or a Kaminga. No,
Yeah.
I do not want that to happen. I do not want it. No.
I want
I'm
to throw a question to you that this is a I'm putting you on the spot, so it's not a big deal if you don't know. On lottery night, when they're pulling cards out of the envelopes, I believe that's Mark Titus that does that. When he's pulling cards out, if Houston has fallen to 5, when he
Does it say Houston or does it say Oklahoma City?
exactly.
I knew you were going to ask that because I don't know because I've wondered the same thing. It's been so long
I'm
since
gonna
I've
go back
watched
and
the
watch.
draft.
I'm gonna go back and watch and find out. I will find
Yeah,
that out before Sunday.
yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad because I was curious about that myself. I thought about that the other day. I am very very curious. I just haven't watched the draft lottery since I guess Cameron Payne was drafted. So it's been a while for me.
I'll be honest. I watched the draft lottery uh, more than I watched the draft, and I know that's
Oh
probably
really?
super strange, but I love the draft lottery because it's like you're gonna get really awesome fan reaction
Oh
stuff
yeah.
on YouTube that night, way more than you will draft night. Because like usually kind of what's gonna happen by draft night.
Yep.
Uh, the lottery just makes for some real memeable fans. So I always enjoy the draft lottery and end up paying attention to it, and because it's only 30 minutes, but way more than the draft. Um, but not this year. Hello, it is going to be so fun. I'm telling you, the podcast that comes if Oklahoma City gets into the top 2 or 3 picks and Houston falls to 5 or 6, like that podcast might go for 6 hours.
Oh yeah.
It
Oh
might go
yeah.
all night.
Dude, if I mean that's it's going to be the biggest highest stakes night for Thunder fans, honestly, since like 2016. Whether
Since
you want to
game
say that,
6. Yeah.
yeah, since Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. That's how big it is. Or I guess you could argue July 4th, 2016 too.
Hmm.
That was an important day as well. But as far as like the future of the franchise, I mean, the fact that the Thunder can either end up with like the number 7 pick and the number 20 pick, which is just the or you end up with the number 1 and the number 5 pick. I mean, that is franchise altering, and it comes down to freaking ping pong balls. I
Yep.
mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Would you, after going through a true season where they tank, would do you like this system that we have, or do you wish it was just the worst team gets the first pick? Like, do you wish it was more like the NFL?
I wish it was more like the NFL, only because it's the only advantage a small market can ever really have.
Yeah.
And flattening the odds kind of takes that away somewhat. And it's the only strategic, advantage. You can talk about tanking and blah, blah, blah. I get it. I do. I understand. But I kind of hate the idea of, a team that's like number 10. And let's say they were competitive, but one of their star players got injured. And then so they end up with like the 10th worst record, and then they get the number 1 overall pick. I mean, it's such a huge swing.
Hmm.
And then, I mean, but my main concern is, markets like OKC or Minnesota or Milwaukee. It's really the only tool they can use, and you kind of take away and leave it to chance at the same time.
Yeah, I think I think it's very interesting. It's a very interesting conversation, especially in light of Oklahoma City. Like you're saying, it's a small market, so that would be one of the only times they have complete control over a situation, and
Right.
not often do they have that. So yeah, I'm with you. But and do you? I just don't think there would be any. I think it's very hard in an 82 game year. So this is let's for instance that we're back to an 82 game season. Um, that I just don't see a team losing or winning less than 10 games. I think it's very hard to go through the ins and outs of a regular NBA season and not win 10 games. I don't think we would see teams losing or winning have like single digit wins over an entire season. I think the
No,
win
because there's
totals would be
always going to
very
be
similar.
right. There's always going to be other bad teams,
Yes.
even if you're not beating any of the playoff teams or elite teams. There's always going to be at least a handful, 6, 7, 8 teams that are going to be pretty bad. So even if you're trying to outright tank, there'll be other teams trying to do the same, or maybe a situation like this where you want to tank, but then you have a couple guys who are just too good to fully tank. If the Thunder hadn't rested Horford and Muscala and traded away George Hill, and if George Hill hadn't been hurt for a month, and then most importantly, if SGA hadn't gotten hurt, I mean, the Thunder are closer to like number. I mean, you could say they'd be in the play-in right now. I mean, truly, if they were actually healthy and had to play all their guys and all those things, is
They
it
would need
crazy to think
there I mean
that?
that what you just said is worth at least 6 more wins, and that's
Yeah,
10th.
absolutely, easily, easily. I mean, and that's the play-in, and I would argue it would be worth more than 6 wins.
For sure. Yep.
So, and would that be fun to see this team in a play-in being so young and all these things when they were trying to trade away to get a top 3 pick? Sure, that'd be fun, but it'd be a one season. Then you don't end up with a franchise-altering guy, and then you're just kind of stuck in this rut.
No question. By the way, Dallas and New York just wrapped. New York Knicks won. They're a half game behind Boston. Just
That is
isn't that
insane.
wild? They're 30 and 27. Boston's 30 and 26. They're just one loss separates them. Pretty
That's crazy,
crazy.
and they've both won 5 in a row. That's
Hmm.
that's insane. Boston made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and the Knicks are the Knicks and have been the Knicks. Those are two have won the most games in a row. The longest streaks in the NBA are those two teams. That's crazy. And
Um,
we
Go
won't get
ahead.
into it, but for another night, we need to talk about how disappointing the Mavericks have been, and how for some reason Luka Doncic, even though I like the guy, is for some reason completely um, he gets no flack whatsoever. He's impervious to like any sort of scrutiny,
Yep.
uh, and that's fine.
It's
But
been
it's
a very frustrating. That's been something that's been under my skin for like over a year now. Is like when is the market correction for Luca?
right.
When does it swing the other way? Like it happened with it reminds me a lot of Durant. Like Durant had probably the highest approval rating of any player, maybe in sports at a time. Like Backpack Durant was like very well liked,
Oh yeah,
even by non-Thunder fans. Um, and that feels like Luca, and even more so, like he's reached like really popular levels worldwide, and yet their team sucks. And he's like supposedly like he was the odds-on favorite to win MVP going into this year.
yeah,
They're 30 and 25.
yeah.
They're like they're not all that good. And it's kind of yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't understand like why can't we talk about the fact that they underachieve constantly and he's their best player.
I like Luca. I think he's a great player and a good dude. But after years of seeing Russell Westbrook getting beat up and
Exactly.
scrutinized, and it's not just Russ. There's a lot of players that get this like level of scrutiny for their teams underperforming, even if they're putting up big numbers. And Luka's still young. I get that and all those things. But when you're in the odds-on MVP favorite and your team is considered like a contender, you got another star in Porzingis and a decent supporting cast. It's just kind of weird to me that nobody talks about. But nobody talks about with Zion Williamson either. And the Pelicans, to me, have
Yeah,
probably been the most disappointing team in the entire league this season.
I totally agree. And the Celtics, I would put them in there as well. They're Eastern Conference Finals last year, and Atlanta is ahead of them in the standings. Also, on the completely opposite end of that spectrum, like the Suns are 40 and 15, and like no
Yeah,
one cares. Like no one
yeah.
talks about Chris Paul. It's amazing. They were where did they pick last year? Like top 7, top 8? The Suns?
Uh, Gosh, where did they pick last year? I can't remember, but I mean, yeah, I
No,
mean,
I
no,
think it was
because they
11.
went on that big run in the bubble and they were close to getting to the playoffs because they went on that big run in the bubble.
You're right. You're right. But yeah, like they're 40 and 15, and he just flies under the radar somehow. Like he should be in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, it's just I'm just throwing out. I like Luca. I like Zion. Of course, I love CP3. It's just weird, like narratives that are created, and media kind of just seems to pick favorites, and they can do no wrong, and then other guys they can do no right. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
let's just see a little balance. Let's just
Yeah.
see a little balance.
Yeah. Suns picked 10th last year. I had to look that up. 10th. They took Jalen Smith
Oh, that's
over
right.
Halliburton. Awesome job, guys.
Oh
Also,
man,
what am I talking about? They took Jalen Smith over Alexei Pokashevsky. How about
yeah,
that?
dummies. They
Also,
don't deserve to be 40 and 15 right now, making choices like that.
also,
I
I
mean,
did
they
want
picked
to
like the worst Jalen of the past 5 drafts. Come on.
I did want to mention that Sadiq Bey is awesome. I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do very well from three tonight, but he's a good young player. He still scored like 18 points, I think. He was like 2 for 12 from three, I know, but
Hmm.
around the rim and anywhere else besides three, he was great tonight.
And was that the first time we've seen Killian Hayes?
Like against the Thunder, at
Yeah,
least.
yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. He wasn't great tonight, but he had moments like he flashed. I know that he hasn't been very good this year, and I know he's missed some time this year, but he's got a lot of promise. There's that whole thing. Two French guards. Killian Hayes was a lottery pick, and Maladone was a second-round pick. And Maladone's been better this season, but tonight Killian Hayes was definitely better.
He threw one of the passes of the NBA season.
Yes.
That left-handed pass in transition was filth.
Yeah.
He
Yeah. It
had
was.
seven assists, but
It was.
that was definitely the best. That was one of the best passes I've seen all year.
Hey, I
Um,
gotta say that no,
yeah,
it was incredible. You know whose was better though? Alexei Pokashevsky's the
the one from the
drive
bubble.
under the basket, left-handed toss out to Maladone,
Oh my
even better.
god, that was sick. Also, I thought you were talking
Yeah.
about the one from the bubble where he caught it and just like flung it behind his head.
Oh, yeah, also better than Killian Hayes. Yes.
Uh, God, I think about that whip pass underneath the rim to Teo at least once a day. That was insane.
it
That
was
was
it was
insane.
insane.
It was like
It,
rub your eyes kind of play from someone who's that tall. Also, are
dude,
we confirmed he's 7'2"?
yeah. So
He looks
here's the
6'8"
deal.
to me.
I know. A lot of that I think is because his head and neck are so long, so he doesn't look the same as like normal 7-footers, and he slumps. Like his posture, like he slumps on the court quite a bit, but
He does.
he really does. It's a thing I noticed, but I haven't tweeted just to protect his Poku heart. But no, so the 7-2 thing came from his coach said in a Zoom interview over the summer with some draft guys that he had grown, had a growth spurt over the summer, and he was 7-2 now. I think that was in shoes, but even I think without shoes, he was like 7-1 or something, whatever it was. But yeah, I mean that's supposedly a thing if
I
you
see him
trust his
listed at
coach.
7 foot. I see him listed at 7 foot, 190.
He is. He's listed at 7 foot because that was his draft height, and it might have been like some extra, hype from his coach trying to get him to,
Yeah.
get drafted a little bit higher. I don't know, because I agree. I think he looks like a legit 7 foot, but I don't think he looks 7'2".
Maybe they measured him in some hokas that day.
Yeah, yeah. Either way, a 7 footer that's doing what he can do
Oh,
and basically playing like a
crazy.
guard is whether he's 7 foot or 7'2" or 7'1". I still think the Thunder have a special one in Poku.
For sure. All right, we will be back on Sunday after the Raptors game. So, Brandon, thanks a lot for joining me, man. We'll talk to you on Sunday.
Absolutely, bud. Have a good one.
All right, Thunder fans, thanks for listening to the Daily Thunder podcast.